Hi friends, Tracy here from the Sewing Channel. Welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. Before we get into the new design for our free motion quilt along, let's recap what we've done so far already. In that first video, we did an all over heart design, and we also did a simple meander design. In that first video, remember I also showed you how to connect easily those blocks together. In blocks 2 and 3, we made some large leaves and we echoed them. And we also did a curved free motion quilt design. In blocks 3 and 4, we did some twinkle stars and we did one of my favorites, these cluster roses. So far, yep, that's my favorite. In block 5, we made a pebble path and put some leaves in the corners. Block 6 was all about stripes, and we put a simple design in each one of those stripes. Super cute. Block 7 turned out great. It was a star explosion. As a reminder, I will always link the full playlist to this entire quilt along in the top right hand corner of your screen. You can click there anytime to find a video that you may have missed so far. Enough talking already. Let's get busy. Free motion quilting block number 8. Up today, space spheres. Say that 3 times real quick. Okay, so all I did to make a template was just grab some random lids out of my kitchen and lay them wherever I wanted to at the moment and just draw the circle around them. And you can see there I used a ball jar and I also used one of my threads to give it yet another diameter. And then I outline the spheres as I go. Now, the day I recorded this video, I used this clear round sewing foot for free motion quilting for echoing, mostly is what it's for, on another video in this series, and I absolutely hated it. And I absolutely hated it for this block as well. So, but I used it throughout the whole thing because I'm not a quitter, and I keep going and thinking that, well, it's going to get better because I'm not that good and it just has to get better. But we all know this foot is horrible, and yeah, no, it didn't get better, but I stuck with it, and I free motion quilted this entire block with this foot. But I can assure you that I will not be using this foot at all anymore throughout this quilt along. So on this particular sphere, I did a tic-tac-toe grid or crosshatch, you could call it, whatever. And I went around it a few times, echoing on one side of the sphere, which gave it a little bit more depth on one side rather than the other. And then off to the side, I started some pebbles. And my pebbles, you know, this sewing foot, we all know, I can't see through it. Nobody can. And I don't know why they're still making it because it's absolutely horrid. And I know I complain about it a lot. I complained about it a lot in the last video and this video now too. But you really just cannot see what you're doing. It's incredible, really. So I'm just going along making some pebbles here. And who knows, being handicapped with this foot, this clear sewing foot, maybe it made my pebbles better because I was striving more and more and it kept getting more difficult to make these circles. So maybe in the end it actually strengthened my pebble skill. Who knows? That circular motion right around that sphere that I just did, that's where I went over for the second time on the one side. And again, I think I go over it again a third time. But here I outlined this next sphere and I started along the outside and went in and made a circular spiral, which looked really cool. And it really made that pop and then came right back out. And then I just went right into some more pebbles right there. And then I went in and traced out the next sphere. And for this one, I just did a bunch of loopy meandering sort of. It's just like little curved lines. And then I did like just a little loopy loop, almost like I would say the letter E kind of, and back out again. And I didn't cross over on that. And they were just tiny just to give it some type of movement within there. And depending on how many spheres you ended up making on your quilt block, you could have more than me or less than me, so you may need to add in another design or take away a design. It depends on, what you've done so far. But this little sphere block, it was really a lot of fun. I really liked doing this one because it just had so many different designs within it, and it does kind of look like space to me. I don't know, what do you guys think? So I did echo again around this little block with all the little meander loops in it. And in one portion of it, you can see right here, I'm doing a zigzag stitch sort of right along only one edge of it. And it really gave it a really cool look. So you might want to incorporate that into your design as well. I mean, it was really easy to do. I just mimicked what I know a zigzag looks like back and forth in between those two lines. And when I got to the end of it there, I echoed right around that other sphere the third time, and then I went right into the pebbles. Now you can see it got really bright here on the video, and that's because I turned my sewing machine light on. You see, I keep it off when I video because it gives a glare for you guys when you're actually watching it, like now. And so I usually sew without my light on, but I turned it on to see if maybe that would help on this sewing foot, and honestly it did not. Nothing helps this sewing foot. The only thing that helps this sewing foot is to literally put it in the garbage, and I'm not even exaggerating. Can I get a witness out there? I know a lot of you have said this sewing foot is garbage, so I don't know. Let's keep the conversation going down in the comments. On this next sphere, I just made a curvy line and then made another curvy line right next to it. And then I made like some scoops all the way down, and it's just a curved back and forth line all in the same direction. And then I make another curvy line next to this design, and then make another one next to that, making yet like another tube-like design. And then I go back and forth in the opposite direction with that scoop, with that curved going up. It's almost like a little worm or something. I don't know how else to explain it. So altogether on this sphere, I did 3 of those wavy type worm shapes with the scoops going in the opposite direction on each worm that I did. Looks pretty good. I like it. After I finished all of the spheres, I went and did some pebbles everywhere, and typically that's what I did after I finished each sphere design that I did. And just so I don't bore you, I'm not going to show you all the footage of me just doing pebble after pebble after pebble. So on this next sphere, I outlined it first, and then I did some of our stars. Remember in the one video I called it toilet paper because that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of quilted toilet paper for whatever reason. And I just went down a straight line from one side to the other on the sphere and making just random stars off of that line of stitching. And I really like how this one turned out. I also want to tell you that I started in the middle of the sphere because I feel like that gives me better symmetry since I'm kind of doing it improv, even though my circles are there. And when I go down the center, it kind of gives me a guide of how many on each side I'm going to do. I'm not sure if I said it earlier, but I did trace around each sphere just before I did it, and that's where I would travel to if I needed to get to the other side of the sphere. On this sphere, I started on the outside and did that circular motion again and went all the way to the inside and then followed myself back out again. I just love that look on this block. I really like how that one turned out. Now on this sphere, I started in the center and did some really close serpentine lines just to give it a little bit of movement. I just thought that would be cute. And then I'll travel around the sphere to the other side and do some, squiggly lines in the opposite direction. And I like how it was like half one way and half the other, just to give it some texture. And on this one here, I'm going to do the toilet paper one again with the little stars. I just felt like You know, why not have two spheres that are the same? And again, yours may be different. You may decide to do two of another one. Even though we're following along with the same types of designs, I want you to make it your own too and do what feels right to you. You may interpret the design in a totally different way. Don't forget, send me pictures of your finished quilted blocks so I can put them in one of my upcoming videos. Send it to thesewingchannel33@gmail.com. And I want to say a big thank you to the ones that have already sent me pictures of your blocks. They look great, and I can't wait to show everyone here on my channel what a great job you all are doing. I love this part after I've done the free motion quilting on the block and I spray that blue line away with the water. The stitching that I've done pops right off of that fabric. It's a satisfying feeling of accomplishment, I think. Until next time on the Sewing Channel, take care.